And we're back for a new segment, a completely new segment in the Hawk arsenal of segments and episodes. And this is On the Couch with the Hawk segment. And we'll get to that here in just a minute, giving a quick look over of the bike, new carb. I want to do a little bit of a review here and talk about all the things we've learned in the last couple of days. But I want to begin with kind of a Father's Day message. As I was developing Hawk on the Couch episode idea, it involved moving a couch near the Hawk. So doing so, I happened to get into an old bag of hats, and this one I got at the beautiful course at Lutzen, Minnesota, near Grand Marais, and I was golfing with my dad and my brothers, and we had a great time, and I'm quite sure my dad got this same hat the same day, which isn't really like him because he doesn't like paying $20 for hats, and I think this was expensive. Anyway, I'll hang that up here because as much as I like the Hawk, and of course I do like the Hawk, it is Father's Day, and give your dad a call. And then it got me to looking at other hats in my bag, and I thought I'd do a quick segment about great hats. And is there a better hat possible than a Spinal Tap hat? The answer is clearly no. For a bike that goes all the way to 11 most of the time when the carb isn't giving me problems, or is it the carb? That's a teaser. For my money, Spinal Tap right at the top. And then, of course, a primary helmet, and also Video Mount 6.0 Face Mask Edition. Works great. You can see the earbuds microphone smartly tucked up there when not in use. And then another hat I came across, rabbit hat that I've used for the last 30 years, still in great condition, and got this at an ice fishing contest when I didn't have an appropriate hat, and they had a semi-truck of guys selling rabbit gloves and rabbit hats. And I think that was like $20, and I thought, hey, they probably ate the rabbit, so go ahead, get the fur hat. Served me great. Have worn that a long time. And then lastly, kind of an Indiana Jones hat. And I've spoken about Indiana Jones here in a couple of episodes. Have the DVDs on the table, and kind of an old leather hat, but it is sewn up here at the side, and it got me to thinking what a perfect way to employ tack light that I got recently. And it seems like kind of an obvious idea, but the bill is so stiff, and I have it looped around here. The little lanyard is looped so it can't come off, and even if it drops all the way forward, that's all the farther it can drop. And unless you're running, this bill on this hat is so stiff that you can just gently tuck the light back up in here, kind of like that, and it's not going to fall out, again, unless you're running. And I thought, if Indiana Jones were here looking at this beat-up old hat, how many times would he want a flashlight, and especially one that can't fall off either? And if you do need it, you can always grab it. There's enough slack where you can obviously turn it in any direction you want with your hand, and then just set it back in the bill. And once you've done that, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And yeah, it's a little heavy, but not enough for it to be anything you'd feel. And it just rests in there so nicely. What a great thing to have if you're out doing some serious camping and you were wearing a leather hat. So great moments in hats here. That's just a auxiliary benefit of on the couch with the Hulk. And again, happy Father's Day. Called my dad. If you're lucky enough to have your dad around, give him a call. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you. But I had an occasion, you can see, to have a couch in the garage here temporarily. So I kind of cleaned out an area for it. And I thought, what better place than directly in front of the Hawk? And how often can you sit in front of your bike on a couch? And maybe some of you bring your bike inside or something into the basement, but here I can actually be on the couch with the Hawk, and no better feeling than being able to do that. But I want to continue here with some review, and this will be the most important part of all of this. I want to go back in time and talk about some issues that popped up. And I'll try to go through this briefly, but it's kind of an interesting story. So what you're looking at in my hand is a Shengwei PZ30 15G17 is the serial number there, and I suppose that's a 30 millimeter, straight from the Hawk, and had served me well. But during the episode, I was doing some relatively high speed Hawk riding. All of a sudden, the Hawk started to bog down and didn't want to open up anymore, and I couldn't figure out why. But originally, I thought about the carb because I was actually on my way to get fuel. The fuel from last year had been in the tank, and there wasn't much left. And I was on my way to fill it up, and it was running so great, I wasn't concerned. But then all of a sudden, it kind of started sputtering over half idle or half throttle, which obviously is a very common problem. Clogged jets and so forth are to be expected if you don't take good care of your fuel. So I went ahead and got a Mikuni clone, which I've talked about here before. This is like a Windindy. You know, I've tried saying it so many times, and every time I just get farther and farther away. It says made in Japan. I suppose the Mikuni's made in Japan, and it does even say Mikuni right on the top of the carb there. So I changed that out, and I put a 110 jet in it, and all of a sudden the same problem cropped up. Over half throttle, it would just bog down and it would kind of die out. So what I went ahead and did is pulled this out. Finally, you know, after dealing with the carb tonight, and I apologize for bad camera work there. I thought this was, it wasn't great, but it didn't look terrible. The filter here for the Hawk, I thought it still looked pretty decent, but it wasn't decent. Again, after changing the carb, the spark plug, which I changed to this NGK, and I thought this was a good enough filter. Well, finally I decided, I'm going to take this filter out and see what happens. And boy, did the Hawk come to life. Just like old times, it just sprung to life. So, obviously the air filter was a big deal, and I feel kind of silly now because I put this carb in once with the 110 jet, and then to try to get it back to stock to see if that was really the problem, that it was the main jet was fouling up the fuel ratios in there. Decided to go back to the 100 that was stock, but the same problem kept happening, and that's what made me decide, well, I've already done this, and I had done the airbox mod also, and I have the little tabs for that down here. You're looking at some past episodes here. You see the map and some of the things I've used. specifically these three in the middle. Used all of those, and then I even have a working microwave here in Hulk on the couch. It's not plugged in, but it can be. There's a outlet right over there on the wall, extension cords in blue right there. If I ever do get hungry out on a Hulk on the couch episode, I can have hot food. And just so the Hawk doesn't get jealous, I keep his food up there too. But yeah, I did the Airbox mod, and I used an X-Acto knife or a like a box cutter knife. Used this one to, and it's still got the soot on it. I used a lighter under it, and I heated it up, and I sliced out the tabs. So I really thought, if anything, the Hawk was getting more air than ever before. And really, I didn't think this looked that bad. But lo and behold, the crux of all of these problems was the air filter. And what's so surprising is how suddenly it happened, because it was running fine, ran it really fast on the highway, and all of a sudden it just crapped out. And it started not responding well. And that sounded so much like a jet problem in here. So, and the one other thing I did before I did any of that stuff with taking apart the air cleaner was this, you can see it's another screw that's shaved off among a bunch of them, and that's the idle or the fuel air adjustment screw. And the Hawk on this carb does have one underneath here. And if with a small tool like this, like a little mini drive, you can manage to turn it, but you can't really see where you're going very well. So what I did, along with ordering a high flow K&N filter, which was like $32 on Amazon, is I also ordered a aftermarket fuel air stem screw. So it will drop down to about here, and there'll be a little tab on it, and you'll be able to just turn that to fine-tune your fuel air mixture. And there was some really interesting YouTube videos about tuning that using essentially what you could do with this, but what I'll soon be doing with that tab is adjusting the fuel air and then adjusting the idle, and doing these two things concurrently or with each other and kind of in harmony there. Then you can get a really good idle out of your bike and a really good throttle response. So the bottom line to all of this is I am going to go back and put that 110 jet in when these things are going to arrive on Tuesday. And I'm going to go ahead and put the 110 jet back in here and then install that. And then with the new K&N filter, in all likelihood, everything will be great and better than ever. But I guess I'll leave with this thought. Original Hawk Cobb 1.0, we doubted you, and I did, but not really, because it was my own fault that I let you get gummed up, or so I thought. In actuality, it was lack of knowledge about air filter cleanliness. That was the real issue all along, and I guess, like with any of this, I have no one to blame but myself. But now we can talk about in the future, when this is on display in the Expo Center Museum, that this is in all likelihood a perfectly fine functioning carb from this bike. And like I've said before, there's no telling the value of an automotive or cycle artifact like this, given the legendary nature of the Hawk. So with that, we'll leave it there tonight. I'll pull off pull off the hat, and glad to get this one back. We'll be wearing it again. Found another Sydney 2000 great Olympics. Remember it well. And again, great hats abound. I think I've covered the whole gamut here tonight, from review to Hawk on the Couch. And I guess, for more philosophical talk about the Hawk, that's really what the couch would be good for. But for tonight, we're just introducing you to the concept of Hawk on the Couch and microwave and kind of displaying things. Oh, and I didn't talk about the kneeler. One thing that I really love when you get carpet in your house, you get these great remnants, and they're so strange, not really good for much, and most people toss them. I have such a hard time throwing away this brand new smelling carpeting, which I kind of like that carpet smell, and kind of squirreling them away. And then over the years, I pull them out and use them for various things to sit on. In this case, like a kneeler in front of the Hawk. All kneel in front of the Hawk, and now in great comfort because the Hawk cares about you, and I care about you. So just another little tip. Save these little carpet pieces. I know they don't come in handy necessarily all that often, but around the garage, you're always happy when you have a little bit of something like that to sit on, or if you had to lay down underneath a car or something, just not to be on that dirty old floor. And, thank you, Hawk, for giving us all the idea, because very few things I would consider kneeling before, other than the Hawk.